Hi friends, I hope you're okay even as you're watching this video. I want to welcome you back to this video. This is part 2 of uh, the interesting topic that we've been looking at, which is the interview. So in this part of this video we'll be looking at uh, what exactly do we mean when it comes to us preparation. I mean, when it comes to us preparing for an interview, what exactly matters the most, or what exactly is fundamental to us to realize in terms of preparing for an interview. So you must really realize that preparation is the most fundamental aspect when it comes to success in an interview. So uh, I there's a lot of stuff that can be explained about preparation about the interview. You can talk about aspects like how to avoid stammering, build how to best build your position in a particular aspect. You can also go further to explain on how to best prepare for certain particular types of questions. So at the end of the day, you will realize that an interview is just a general topic that has no specific points. It's so vast that it's difficult to actually make even to make a video about an interview. It's so vast that you cannot really compress everything in a short video. It's more of what it's more than what we think. So this is why I want to surely continue elaborating on the point that it highly depends on you. So you must really do your level best even as you are watching this video. This video might just be a small guidance that you must receive when it comes to you preparing for an interview. At the end of the day, the determinant or the determining factor is you. It's how much you're preparing for an interview. It's how much you realize uh, is at stake when it comes to this lifetime opportunity that you have ahead of you. Is what really would define your success at the end of the day. So an interview is a broad topic. It's a vast topic, but in this video I just want to talk about three main important aspects about the preparation of an interview, for an interview. And the first thing that I want us to talk about is you know research on the subject matter of the interview. That's one topic that we'll look at. What you have to have a general knowledge about the subject matter of that particular interview. And then the other aspect I'll talk about is anticipation of questions before an interview itself. And the last thing I want to talk about is practice. So these are the three many points that I want to bring across that I think in one way or the other we must be able to help you. So I'm talking about research about the subject matter of the interview. The second one being anticipation of anticipation of questions that they might ask you on that particular day during that interview. So there are certain aspects that we need to consider when we want to anticipate the questions. So we'll talk about that. Then the last thing we'll talk about is actually practice. Now under practice we'll talk about you have to practice if you really want to actually make it. I'll explain that point further. So the first point being um, research about the subject matter. This one, what I just want you to realize is that, for example, if I'm actually going to attend an interview, let's say an electrical engineering scholarship interview, then that simply tells me I need to have some general knowledge about electrical engineering. I must have some minimum knowledge is required of me about about that particular subject of interest in that interview. And this is what I mean about what I mean about research. So you need to carry out the research about the if it's a scholarship to study whatever course. So you need to do a general research about the course. You need to have some minimum level of understanding about the course. So that's the first important aspect, so that even if you're asked whatever question, you might be able to say something from that minimum knowledge that you have. That's just a general thing that you also have to realize. And then the most important part of preparing for an interview that I think is important is the aspect of us anticipating the questions. So what do I mean by anticipating the questions? I mean, we need to, we need to think before the interview. You need to anticipate what kind of questions are possible. What kind of questions is the committee going to ask me? Now, it doesn't mean you really need to know or exactly what questions they are going to ask you. It's not possible unless you have some source that is going to some source actually that is going to give you those questions. Then that really might work for you. But at the end of the day, when we are anticipating the questions, what we mean is we need to think about the general questions that they're most probably going to ask us, and knowing the particular kind of interview that you're going to attend is a key aspect for us to anticipate the questions. For example, I'm going to stick to electrical engineering, obviously, because I'm studying electrical engineering. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm going to attend an electrical engineering interview, then I need to think within the box. They're probably going to ask me, why do you want to study electrical engineering? Then why do you want to study electrical engineering abroad? Those are the, if that is the interview, I mean, if that is the scholarship to study outside. So most probably that's a general thinking that we are using. There is nothing difficult about it. It's a general thinking. So if I applied to study under electrical engineering, then probably they're going to ask me, why do you want to study electrical engineering? That's the first question. So I'm going to get a small piece of paper. I'm going to write down my anticipated questions. But obviously the first question is going to be, I'm going to write it down as my first question. Tell us more about yourself. Obviously that is going to be the first question, and it's a general question to whatever interview you're going to attend. So they'll ask you, tell us more about yourself. So I'm going to write that question as my first question on my piece of paper. Tell us more about yourself. Now immediately you write that question, what comes to you is you need to think properly. You need to plan yourself properly to write the best out of the whole pool of information that you can write to in response to that particular question. For example, when you ask me to tell you about myself, it's actually not an easy question. It is actually a very difficult question, looking at the fact that there's a lot of information about me. I've been in existence for more than 15 years now, 19 years, depending on your age. So there is actually a pool of information about yourself. So at the end of the day, you must be able to choose the very important aspects of that information that you have. Of course, it really depends on the particular interview that you're attending to. So you look at the interview that you're attending to, you try to align the information that you have about yourself and pick the very best information that you can give. But at the end of the day, you must realize that you must be brief, because that is just a general question. But the most important question, obviously, they're going to ask you is, why do you want this job, or why do you want this course? And in the next video, I hope I'll be able to give a practical example on how to respond to that question. It's actually the most important question of an interview. The why question itself, it's the most important question. How you respond to that question, how you build your momentum, how you build your position, really determines your success at the end of the day. So like I said, so you have to write down your anticipated questions. Obviously they're going to ask me, why this course? Tell us more about yourself. Why do you want to study abroad? Most probably for you guys who are watching this video who have plans to study abroad. So I'm going to ask you that, why do you want to go and study in Russia? Why do you want to go and study in China? Why do you want to go and study in India? They'll ask you all those questions. So at the end of the day, you need to do the thinking now and do the talking on that particular day, because it's very difficult to do the thinking and the talking on the same day, which means you will surely have some struggle. And that's why you find people stammering when talking to, when responding to these questions. They'll start stammering from nowhere because they have to process certain information, and at the same time they have to organize that information and give it out. So if you can do the thinking now and do the speaking on that particular day, then it's really going to do you a very, very good thing. It's really going to be of high benefit to yourself. So you need to do the thinking now and do the speaking on that particular day. So this is what it means to anticipate the questions. You look at the subject matter in terms of the interview. What interview am I attending? What are the obvious possible questions they are going to ask me in line with this particular interview? You write those questions down, and then you take your time to respond to each and every question. Of course, whatever response you're going to give there must be a meaningful one. No wonder you're doing the preparation now, so that whatever you're going to write down is really going to make sense at the end of the day. So if you prepare in that particular manner, then it's really going to be easy for you. Now, immediately you prepare in that particular manner, immediately you put everything on that piece of paper. Of course, preparation means getting a book for the interview if possible. I think that's the best advice I'm actually giving you. So you need to buy a small book. If you want you can actually give it a title, the interview. Then you have an introduction, like just like I gave you an introduction part of it. Then you have this main subject of preparation, where you are going to actually put whatever stuff I've said, and you're also going to incorporate your own strategies on how best you think you're going to prepare for the interview. So after you write everything, you have to do one important aspect that I think is very important, and which I think is you have to practice. You have to practice at the end of the day. Now, what do I mean by practice? Practice simply means you have to create an exact environment. You must have the feeling before the experience. So what do I mean exactly? If it actually means you getting a friend or your family member, putting them around the table and telling them, please observe me even as I am trying to practice for the interview, it will surely do you good. Because at the end of the day, when you practice, you are going to create the actual environment. So what is going to happen is that you'll be used to that particular environment. Even on that particular day when you will be speaking, you won't be nervous because you're used to it. You've practiced under the same conditions. So it's going to be easy for you to actually speak. And at the end of the day, you're going to realize you won't even stammer, because stammering comes because you are tensed out. You're nervous. You didn't prepare much. You need to do the thinking. In short, you're overworking your brain. So that's why you find people stammering. You find people doing all sorts of mistakes during that interview. So if you can practice, if you can stand before a huge mirror and look at yourself speak, then it's really going to help you. I know it sounds crazy, but this is just the practical aspect of it. Believe me, this is just the practical aspect of it. It really works, and it's very important. Just take it serious. So if you're going to stand before a mirror and practice, or before friends or family members, it's really going to help you. This I can assure you. So those are the three main aspects that you must realize when it comes to preparation of an interview. You must have some general knowledge about the subject matter of the interview. You must anticipate the questions. Then you must practice. Now, this is just a general view that I've given you. You also have to do, at the end of the day, try to think of other strategies. Try to think on how best you can actually patch up the gaps from whatever I'm saying. It highly depends on you. This is what I'm going to repeat again. It highly depends on you. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to share on this aspect. And then the last video that I'm going to upload is just going to be on how to answer the why question. So I'm going to make it practical. I'm going to touch a particular question, and then I want to give you a clue on how you can best answer that question, just to open your eyes on how to answer certain questions. In other words, I just want you to see the sequence and the pattern on how to answer the why question. I hope this video made a difference. I highly appreciate your time. May God bless you. Thank you. See you in the next video.